All right, welcome to another episode of the Calgary Fitness Podcast. This one, it should be a lot of fun because I'm with Stevie Ogrodniczuk. She's a good friend of mine. She and I, we've crossed paths quite a bit in our fitness sphere, and it's great to connect because I really, really appreciate what you're doing right now. You're a health coach, you're a life coach, and you're basically helping women align their nutrition with their goals. Yeah. Take it away. I want to hear more about you. Who the heck are you? Who do you help? Who do you serve?
Well, I've always, I've always been in fitness. I got my first fitness certification way back in 2004, but I always had this niggling feeling inside that I just wanted to get deeper when it came to kind of mindset, self-care, self-love with women. So years and years ago, I did my very first life coaching certification back in 2011. I think it crossed over into 2012. And then I did go off and I did kind of start with that coaching for weight loss and for, body acceptance, all the things, but I just didn't have all the tools yet, I think. So that was about a decade ago almost now. I'm still teaching fitness the whole time. And so then, I took another life coach or a health coaching certification from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which was great. It was good. A lot of people really love it. But I just didn't find it very client-centered or very actionable. And then over COVID, what else could I do but take another certification? So I went with the precision nutrition, which I find very action-based, very client-centered. And, I'm just really working towards, well, right now we're busy working towards a program for women in weight loss, but going at it with a positive mindset, learning how to customize their nutrition to their goals. So I'm just really happy that it's finally, after a decade's worth of consideration and work in my own journey, to finally get to this point. Super exciting, and I'm really excited about it.
So, I want to know why are you so passionate about this? Someone could just stay by the wayside and be like, listen, I'm in my own sphere right now. I'm a busy mother, because you do have kids. Yeah. You've got a busy life. Like, why are you hoping to help and serve other people?
It's kind of always been in me. In fact, when I very first got my very first certification, I was teaching step aerobics at the Y. And I was always interested in fitness as an adult. But the thing that got me there is I had my older kids when I was quite young, and my husband and I were still in college and university. So we went to the Y in Edmonton, and they gave us a membership, like, for our family, because we were low income. We didn't have it much. We were going to school. And immediately I was like, well, I want to do something in return. So I volunteered, and that's where I started. I started teaching steps. So I've always wanted to kind of, give back. I feel like I'm not really someone who just sits around and lets life pass me by or doesn't help out. But with what I'm doing right now with the women and kind of body image, weight loss, all the things, just years of, for me, going through my own journey, but also listening, because I've, met hundreds of, maybe thousands of women in all of these years, who I just listen to the things that they're saying, either about themselves or about their goals. And honestly, it kills me a little bit inside, because I know that there's a better way. I know there's better way to do things. And truly, like, when I look at people, and Justin, I think you can relate, when I look at people, I see, a really strong, amazing, beautiful person, where I'm trying to coach people to see the same things that I'm seeing and be able to just uncover their best self, live their best life. And I guess that's why you couldn't stand back anymore. It's just, I heard so much. I heard so many people, so many stories, and I thought, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be miserable.
Yeah, totally. And I appreciate you saying where you started, and you mentioned all those years ago. So how many years experience do you have in fitness? You did mention 2011 with the life coaching thing of this, precision nutrition, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I started teaching step classes in 2004. I got my first Pilates certification from Matt, Pilates through Stott, in 2006. And then, you know, I've done it all. I've personal trainer, I've got all the certifications, and currently, of course, Justin and I know each other from a boutique fitness as coaches, and I'm under the orange light. Some of you will recognize that. And then also now I'm a Pilates instructor here in Calgary, on reformers doing classes. So I don't think I'll ever leave the fitness part of it. I just adore it. I love it. But having this extra tool in my box it's really important to me. And I really love to bring that into people's lives, make them see something a little differently.
Totally. And I think that that's important to remember too, that this thing that we're doing called life, I mean, to live a healthy life is not just sets and reps at a gym, right? I mean, you could kill yourself in the gym, I mean, 7 days a week, and you ultimately, you may not still be happy with yourself at the end of the day. So I love that you're doing that all encompassing thing.
100%. And, you know, even when we're going for a goal, I always ask my clients why do they want that goal? Because, you know, sometimes from the outside looking in, we think, you know, either the workouts or the nutrition or whatever, that is going to make us happy. That's going to bring us happiness. And obviously we need to dig a little deeper, because wherever you are, there you are. So like, you just have to kind of work from the inside out, as I like to say, but also being patient with yourself and kind of getting to know yourself a little bit. Like what are you actually working for? What do you want? And we go through that a lot with my clients.
And that is like, it's a work in itself, right? To help someone through that journey, right? Because at the end of the day, I mean, I've seen it in my clients too, where it's like, you watch them go through all this work and they're doing amazing work. And then at the end of the day, if they have a piece of cake, they start shaming themselves and they start saying, I'm a failure. And it's this negative self-talk that I've been noticing big time. Yeah. So let's talk about that.
Well, I think that's all or nothing. I think that's kind of all or nothing. And I see that with 90% of my clients, that it's got to be all or it's nothing. So either we white knuckle it all day long. We're at a birthday party, even our birthday party, and we say no thank you to the cake. And then that's miserable as far as I'm concerned. Or we have the cake and then just to say, well, I guess I'm not going to get my goals now. Goals aren't happening because I did that. And then it kind of goes on from there. Sorry, I think I might have muted for a second. But so it's that all or nothing mentality. And one of the big things, sorry, my phone keeps dimming, so I'm touching it. But that all or nothing mentality, what I tell my clients over and over and over, we're looking for better, not perfect. So we're going to consistently make better choices, because all perfection is going to do, you're going to try to be perfect. We understand that there is no perfect. We go back down to the beginning. Well, we don't understand it, but there is no perfect. So we, again, try to be perfect, have the cake, go back to the beginning, try to be perfect, have the donut, go back to, so it's kind of a cycle that keeps us back at the beginning. Whereas those little tiny little betters consistently are going to move us forward. So yeah, that all or nothing, I feel like I have it too. I feel like it's a pretty normal way for us humans to react to things. And for some reason, when it comes to nutrition, we really go for it. We really grab onto that. So yeah, but have the cake. If you want the cake, have the cake. That's what I say to people. I'm never going to say no to a piece of cake again.
Never, right? I mean, that's the thing. And like, I'm going to be completely transparent with you. When I first started my fitness journey, I did try to focus on whatever form of perfection was. And I'm taught, like, I've got some pretty scary stories about how extreme I went, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. You start to discover as you go through this journey that it's not about six-pack abs, and it's not about how light you are on the scale. And I think that that's really, really shifted for me and my clients, and maybe it's shifted for you too. But I think that a lot of people have this image of what perfect is, right? And that to me is like a really, it's a slippery slope, because if you get too perfect, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it's like, it's just like, it's a
Yeah,
slippery slope, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous for like the era that we're
100%.
headed to with our kids
Hmm.
and everything like that. So
Well, and we're talking about with our kids and like just seeing the images, like constantly imprinting in images in your head, when you're scrolling social media and you're constantly seeing, like, it's just, it happens so fast, you don't even know, but all of those images are imprinting on our brains, right? And so maybe there is that definition that somebody kind of sees themselves as, but we're just all so different. We're all, our body types are also different. And, there's a body positive movement, and it's sometimes it can be pretty extreme, but there are some good messages from it. And seeing more variety in body types in the media, things like that, are going to be so helpful. So people don't constantly see, like you said, the six pack, like a guy with the six pack abs. I don't know what was I watching the other day with my kids on oh, it was Love Island. And you just you just watch all these images,
guilty
images,
pleasure.
images.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, this isn't real life, but it's just being imprinted on our minds without us even knowing it. Like it's like a sneak attack. But fact of the matter is, we're all very different. We all have very different body types. We're going to look different. And even like I say this too to my clients, if you look at a body and you decide you are like, okay, that's what I want to be like. Well, even if you eat the exact same and exercise the exact same as that person, it's not going to happen. It's just not. So yeah, you're right. It is a slippery slope.
Hmm.
And I think right now in our society, with just the constant images in our brains without a lot of context, it's maybe it's getting worse.
Yeah.
But I don't know. My kids are they seem pretty relaxed in their bodies, which is nice. And they're
Awesome.
kind of right in that age, like 20 years old, 19, and then 14. So it's, but it's tough. Like
It is.
there's
And you
no
know what, too?
perfect.
Like,
Yeah.
are your kids on TikTok?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing. So I'm on TikTok as well. And what I've
Uh-huh.
noticed about TikTok is like, to me, that I'm finding is so dangerous, especially for
Mm-hmm.
our youth. And like,
Yeah.
I can appreciate that it's fun and it's light and everything like that. But the fitness side of it, you've got a lot of bodybuilders,
Mm-hmm.
you've got a lot of people competing on stage, and you've got a lot of power lifters as well, who are telling you the message that deadlift, bench, and squat are your only three lifts.
Yeah.
Everything else, it doesn't matter. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, that is giving people the impression that you need to be a certain way to be accepted and to be right and to be
Yes.
allowed. And I think that that is so unfair, especially to our youth, because I think the minimum age to go on TikTok is like 13 years old. And
Yeah.
when you have this face who's like giving this authority figure, it's
Mm-hmm.
just, what are we setting themselves up for, right?
Yes, TikTok terrifies me because again, especially when we're young and our brain sees an image or hears a message, it kind of just accepts it as truth unless we consciously unless we consciously try to like, what's the word I'm looking for? We consciously question it. Our brain is like, oh, that's truth. Like we see it, that must be truth. And especially with my youngest, so my older two are on it quite a bit, but it's my youngest that kind of scares me the most, the 14-year old, because I don't really see the guy side as much, but I do see a lot of women on there, saying what they ate, and it's like some broccoli and some air, things like that. And that stuff freaks me out for sure. And I agree with you. I do think it's dangerous, and it's even hard to monitor, like to see, show me what you've been looking at. And then it's, you kind of go through, you can't, it's very complicated, and it's a little bit scary. And their For You pages, well, I could go into this forever, but you watch The Social Dilemma, and it's like,
Yeah.
everything changes, right? But yeah, it is. There's a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to fitness and nutrition, 100%. And for one, I kind of stay on the Instagram sphere, but I follow accounts that I don't agree with on purpose, because I don't want to be in a silo of just people who preach the same things as me. So I'm trying to, show a big, I just want to show my brain a different thing so that I can stop and think about it and question things. And what I'm seeing is that everybody is very divided. Like you said, those guys will say the only things you should do is this, while as other people will say the only thing you should do is keto. Like it's very divided. And I'm trying to, with my clients, just bring a sense of relaxation to all of that. It's actually doesn't have to be complicated. Like we just have to, like eat some protein, eat some veggies, be moderate, understand some hunger cues, maybe track and count for a little while until you can understand what a portion size looks like for you. But truly just relax about it. I get asked a lot, can I eat this? Can I eat? You can eat whatever you want. As long as you are making that choice for yourself, you're choosing to do it, eat whatever you want and take responsibility for it. So if it's a whole, I don't know, what's good? Oh, blizzards. I love Dairy Queen blizzards. But they're ridiculous. I don't know. It's like 700 calories. I don't know. It's crazy. But I'll make that choice and like that. Yeah, this is what I'm doing today. This is my choice. And I'm not going to beat myself up about it tomorrow. I'm not going to restrict. I'm not going to work out harder. I'm going to go on with my life because it doesn't one time. It's fine. It's fine. As long as you're consistent with, healthy foods in the most part, you're fine. That 80-20
Totally.
rule, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I'm glad that you mentioned the social media side of things. It's easy for us to say, in the fitness and health sphere, to say it's not that complicated, right? But people want
True.
a blueprint. Like they want, tell me what to do when I wake up in the morning. Tell me what to do at 10 a.m. Tell me what to do at noon, because they think that is going to be a one size fits all. And it's not a one size fits all, right?
100%.
And like people are looking for tangible, like what can I grab a hold of in this moment? And I think that, over the years that I've had my experience, it's that where you can't grasp this. It's like it's listening and learning and listening and learning and failing and failing. Please don't be afraid to fail when you are going through a fitness journey, a health journey, whatever, weight loss, weight gain, maintenance. It really doesn't matter, but you have to learn and be okay with failure.
Yes, that's a big one. And failure, again, it's the all or nothing. So the failure with my clients, we say failure is feedback. It's not failure, it's feedback, so that you can learn. What are you learning from it? Maybe keto's not for me, whatever it was. But then you don't just stop your journey, but you say, okay, well, I'm going to chalk that up to experience, and you move on. And I kind of, again, it's where we just try to be so perfect with our health and fitness, but I always kind of go back to like when a baby learns to walk, like you can imagine them getting up to toddle around, falling down on their seat one time and being like, shh, well, that's enough of that. Like they just get up, they get up, they get up, they get up. And it's important to do the same thing. You're right. We do say it's not complicated. I do say it's not complicated. The thing that's tough is awareness. It's patience. It's, learning what your body is asking of you or telling you, because we have to go inside. We have to get mindful about it. And in our days of, quick news, quick social media, quick this, like I tell my kids, I'm like, when I was young, we used to have to rewind a movie before we watched it. Like just that patience, we just don't have it anymore. So, kind of slowing down, getting to know yourself a little bit better is, I think, a big part of the journey for a lasting journey. And I think maybe you're right, like about when people try to grasp onto things. Well, for one, there's so much information out there. So it's like, what do I choose? Which one of these things? And some of the things that tell you what not to eat, I think people like that direction. And so that's perhaps why they will go towards that. But I'm never going to tell my clients what not to eat. It's got to be totally up to them. And again, I empower people with their own awareness. which I think is important going forward to maintain your results.
Totally. And I think like it goes back to the coaching side too. The one thing that I tell my clients, there are no good and bad foods. Once you eliminate that language from your mind, right? So what I focus on big time is like there's growing foods and there's fun foods. Both have a positive connotation, right? And there's room for both, right? Like,
Yeah,
like we said at the beginning, have a DQ Blizzard. I'm not even gonna lie, I can see Dairy Queen out of my window right now across the street from my house. So
that would be dangerous.
I know, right? But it's like that's growing foods. And I mean, I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old. I mean, if we want to go get some ice cream, we're gonna go have some ice cream. We're gonna own the decision. We're gonna move on from there. Like it doesn't have to be so traumatic that you start down this slippery, this negative self-talk and this downward spiral, because at the end of the day, it's like you have to be okay with yourself being in your own skin. And, it's a work in progress. I think everybody's working on it, and it takes time and patience.
Yeah, and it totally does. And whatever you're choosing as your lifestyle change or whatever it is you want to call it, it has to be sustainable. Otherwise, on the weekend comes and we're eating all the DQ Blizzards, or, it's got to be sustainable. It's got to be something that you can be in it for the long term, because we have to take care of ourselves past our goals. It's got to keep going. So it's got to be sustainable. And kind of what you mentioned about fun foods, I like that a lot, and growing foods. Like we have, a lot of people, we used to talk, we wanted to take, there's emotional eating, there's taking the emotion out of foods, but I like the emotion in my food. And I was one of the people who was always like, food should be neutral. And I don't believe food should be good or bad. I think it's neutral in that way. However, when it comes to celebrations or even comforting myself with some food, if I've had a really bad day, as long as I'm keeping that awareness into what I'm doing, I'm cool with it. Like, and the food with celebration, like it's so lovely and it's so important. It's such a big part of our culture that, I don't ever want to give that up. I want to keep that emotional tie to it. Like a Dairy Queen, like having when my kids were little, when you said that about Dairy Queen Blizzards, taking the 3 of them to get ice cream was one of my very favorite things to do. And I'm not going to not have one. I would, well, if I didn't want one, of course I wouldn't, but I want to participate. So it's all about finding that, I don't know, I feel like it's an empowerment that you can own your choices. And I don't know if you think the same way, and this is why you took the good and bad out of it, is that if you think of a food as bad, I don't know about you, but I want it. Like that's
exactly why, because then you start to restrict. Okay, I'll just have one, and then it turns into 10, and then it turns into the whole box of cookies, and you're just beating yourself up. And I think that's why once you just rework and turn that one screw in your head to say, this isn't bad. Having one cookie is fine. Having 10 cookies is fine, right? Like you said, you're never going to tell someone that the food isn't bad for you. And I think it's just, once you realize that, it actually turns a corner in your mind where the binging starts to perhaps lessen, or you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
I do 100%. And I see it a lot. And it's a hard thing to turn around. Like that is hardwired in our brains about the bad foods and the good foods. And, of course, like food's on a continuum, and a whole food, an apple is going to give you a lot of more micronutrients. It's going to give you a lot more that your body wants than a Blizzard. But that apple isn't going to give me the same experience as, like I said, ice cream with my family. So it's a kind of a different thing. And we live in a society where there's so much available to us all the time. There's no Dairy Queen out my window, but during COVID, I learned that you can skip the dishes Dairy Queen to your house. So, well, it's not across the street. It's just a couple taps away. So it's always available to us, and just white knuckling it through life willpower is not going to last. Eventually our willpower is going to snap. So if we just, say it's bad, don't want it, your brain's going to rebel. You're going to want it. You're going to want it more. So that's to try to neutralize that. And on the same kind of thread, say it's weighing yourself on the scale. I kind of say the same thing. I try to take the good or bad out of that. And again, that's another hefty bill to follow through on, because it is. We have so much tied up in those things, the good, the bad, the evil, the good. Yeah.
I mean, I love getting into this, and like people probably listening or watching right now are too. They're like, okay, this is all well and good, but give me some stuff that I can take home, and give me some stuff that it's like, I want to get this done, and I want to, make sure that I am seeing results. But you have to understand that this is not a 3-week fix. This is not a 7-day ab blaster or a 30-day detox or anything like that. And I talk about that a lot because once you clue into fitness, and the big thing that I put on is you are going to live 30,000 days your entire life. So why are you trying to narrow your results and your success to a 30-day plan? Like it doesn't work this way. And like that is the takeaway, in my opinion, is that you need to start practicing patience, and you need to focus on, just really listening to yourself, making mistakes, and be patient.
Yeah, it is. It's a whole new lesson in self-talk, in mindset. And like I've been working on this. Like I said, I did my first coaching certification in 2011, and I went into it with the intention, like it was something like this that I wanted to do. I just couldn't really put my thumb on it yet because there wasn't a lot out there, so I couldn't really compare it to anything else. But I've done like a lot of my own work on neutralizing those things, and finding patience, and trying not to live in an all or nothing mentality or mindset. And it's hard, and it's a work in progress. I cannot 100% say to you that I can overdo it with ice cream, or that I sometimes don't think, forget it, I did that thing and now all my results are in the tank. Like, we're human beings, and we should be compassionate about ourselves, just like we are towards other people, about our journey. And again, like you said, it's not a 30-day, like I have an 8-week program, but my 8-week program, sometimes people get right onto it and they start right away. But some people take the information and they just ruminate with it. And maybe they start 6 months down the line, and maybe it kind of clicks in, because it's all going to be different for all of us. And that's all good. Like if you see something lose 10 pounds in a month, fine, but just understand that as soon as you go back to your nutrition, or the way you were eating before, that 10 pounds going to come right back on. It just is. It's just not sustainable in those quick losses. Yeah.
I got mad in the car the other day, and I won't name the company because there was a radio ad, and they're a big national weight loss. I mean, everybody knows the name, but their big plug is lose 16 pounds in a month. And I did the math. That's 4 weeks. That's 4 pounds a week. Like, how is that sustainable? Right? Like, and how is that setting you up for life? It's really not. And I understand that people, you do want to kickstart a journey. You do want to make sure, and that's good. That's all well and good. It shows that you're motivated, and it shows that you want to take some action. But at the same time, if you don't address what's going on in here and really laying it out over that 30,000 days that I mentioned at the beginning, then that to me is the real key to unlock. It's.
And I just have to say too, for people who 4 pounds a week, it's just wrong. Like for 2 pounds a week is kind of like a max fat loss, a healthy fat loss for a 200-pound man. That's 2 pounds a week. So even that 2 pounds a week, like kind of when we talked at the beginning about how I would see all these people in fitness classes, and women that aren't losing 2 pounds a week and get really down on themselves. Well, that's because that's a lot for a woman. So like 4 pounds a week is really, really aggressive. And for most of us, we're not going to see those kind of things. And when we talk about weight loss versus fat loss, there's that too. I don't want to lose a bunch of muscle personally. If I'm going to go for a goal, I would want to lose fat. I don't want to lose muscle. So that's a big part of it too, is that, like I can cut off my arm. I don't know, how much do you think that weighs? Like 7 pounds? I'm gonna, and
7
I'll step
pounds.
on
Come
the
on, give
scale.
yourself some credit.
Well,
You
how
would
much? I
probably,
don't know.
yeah,
Anyways, it weighs a
yeah,
little, 10 pounds. It
sure.
weighs a little bit. Yeah, those guns, I guess they weigh a little bit.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
so you cut off your arm, you step on the scale, there you go, you're down 10 pounds. But that's not what I'm interested in. Like I'm interested in that, that extra fat and losing that as opposed to the muscle. I want to keep my muscle. So, it's got to be done in kind of in that healthy way, patience, feeding our
Totally.
muscle, and really getting clear on what we're doing and why.
Totally.
Yeah.
This has been awesome so far. And I think that, like, let's get into fitness a little bit because I want to
Okay.
talk. I mean, our time working together, you have an eye to help people with their core like I have not seen from anybody else, where it's like you can easily tweak somebody and all of a sudden they've activated their core and they've really dialed that in. So talk about the work that you've done with the core, talk about your Pilates specialty, and let's talk about how someone can
Yeah.
really focus on their core.
Well, so like I said, way back in 2006, I was pregnant with my third when I had my Pilates exam. So 2006. So the Stop Pilates gave me a really good base to learn about my core, to learn about, clients, to learn about the core. It was a really, really good education. So I think I was lucky enough to have that base. I then had, I'm going to say, I'm really bad with time. I had a bad injury. I had a couple bulging discs. I have scoliosis. And so as my kids kind of aged, I'm going to say my youngest was, it's about 10 years ago. Can't remember. Yes, my back hurt when I did my life coaching. So about 10 years ago, I had a couple bulging discs. I had some issues that I have been around the globe and back with. And a lot of it had to do with core. I've had 3 children. I think the way women nowadays, we have our kids and then, well, at least when I had mine, it might be a little bit better now. I was back as soon as they said I could run, I was running, I was pounding the pavement, I was doing all the things where I believe now I think we should have a little more rehab for women with their core, with their pelvic floor, but that's hindsight. But I really learned a lot, I think, with my own body. And then, and then with as far as people's core go and just doing little tweaks, I've been doing this for a long time. My eyes have been looking at a lot of bodies. And, it's actually not that it's simple, but you can really see when a spine is out of alignment, going into a squat or going into whatever. And it can be, yeah, like you said, and you're really good for it too, that little tiny tweak that changes somebody's workout. And, but our cores, like, even though, like, I can hammer myself through some serious core stuff. That being said, I still have a lot of imbalances, as we all do. Like, my obliques on one side don't fire quite right, or this and this. So, you always get kind of deeper, deeper, deeper. And it's our powerhouse. Our core is just our everything. I really like the analogy of our core being like the trunk of an old oak tree. And it's just really solid. And then we have, all the branches, our arms and our legs and our head. And they can, with that core, that trunk being so nice and stable, those branches can go through tornadoes and hurricanes, and they can bend and twist and do all the things, yet that foundation stays strong. And I think that's important, especially as we age. As I want to be a real healthy senior, so I'm just trying to stay
Totally.
straight and upright. Yeah.
Totally. So, I mean, let's talk about training as you age right now. Like, I'm curious, what are you training right now? Are you training for anything specific? What's your split right now, I guess, for lack of a better term?
So right now I'm doing 3 full body strength days, but right now I'm training unilaterally. So I'm doing everything one leg at a time because I'm really trying to build up some strength through my glutes. Which a lot of women need. If you're having some low back stuff, you're having some core stuff, take a look at those glutes. But so I'm doing a lot of that. And of course I'm doing my Pilates. I love the core strength plus the mobility Pilates gives me. It's really huge. And then, well, I have a Peloton bike at home. And so I've been trying to do 2 Peloton rides every week, but I broke my toe and I can't fit my
Come
foot
on.
in my shoe.
Ah,
And it's been weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. And I also walk. I walk a lot. I clear my head. It's perfect for my mental health. It gets me that NEAT in, which is your non-exercise adaptive thermogenesis. Oh my God, I always forget that acronym, but I'm always getting that NEAT in, and just, I just like to keep moving. Well, that's my brand. Keep moving,
keep moving,
Stevie.
Steve.
Yeah.
I
So
think
basically, that's what I'm working on.
I love that you mentioned walking. First, I mean, we're both from Calgary, and
Mhm.
the weather this summer has actually been quite fantastic.
Mhm.
I mean,
I
we've gotten
know.
a lot of sunshine. And I will say this one thing about COVID. I mean, it sucks that we couldn't go to the gym. It sucks that I get it. But I have never seen more people go outside. I have never
Mhm.
seen more people walk around my neighborhood. And to
Yes.
me, that is just amazing because as able-bodied people, that is the one thing that you can do for your health that is simple. Anybody can do it if you're able-bodied. And it doesn't need to be like a 4-hour hike or anything. Like you're talking maybe 20 minutes around the block. And
Yes.
if you're a beginner, like go down the street and get the mail and then come back home.
Mhm. I Walking is so underrated. In fact, if I am in a fat loss phase, which I'm not right now, but if I am, I walk. I just walk. Like that's my cardio. I don't run. I don't kill myself on my Peloton bike. I have about 2 20-minute cardios. That's it. Like I really focus on the strength and the walking, and it changes everything. And people really discount it, and they kind of like my clients when I say, "Did you try walking?" and they go, "Eh," but it's so good. It's so underrated, and people should. I agree with you. Try it. Park further away from the grocery store, walk around your house when you're on the phone, go get the mail, like you said. Just try to move. It really does make a difference. Sitting is wrecking us right now. And yeah, the walking it's a big deal. I agree.
You say that as I'm seated right now. With my job, like I've been 6 months from home with
Yes.
COVID and everything like that. And yeah, I do sit a lot. And
Yeah.
just with the nature of the work I do, it's like, I mean, I'm not moving much, but I do know that just even getting up for 15 minutes and just walking around is so beneficial,
Mhm.
which is incredible. There's one
Yeah.
thing that I wanted to ask you about
Yep.
in terms of a post that you put up on Instagram. And by the way, throw out your Instagram handle for everybody who's watching, listening right now so that they can get more information about what you do and who you are.
It's at keep.moving.stevie.
Awesome. So
Mhm.
the one thing that you posted that I thought was awesome was the cheat meal. And
Mhm.
um, that goes back to the connotation a little bit with words, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on cheat days and, you know, is it something that people should be putting into their plan?
If it works for them and their mindset is still positive, and if it's working for you, fine. Like if it's truly working for you and you feel positive, if it's a positive thing, fine. But if it's kind of like a reward because you restricted for a week, or if it like, I don't know, I've heard, again, talked to so many people, cheat meals go awry, and you start your cheat meal on Friday night and you end your cheat meal on Sunday evening, and everything you did through the week is negated anyway. So why not just add what you want throughout the week and just kind of keep it steady and not mess with that mindset so much by, going into those overactive cheat meals. Cheat meals used to be a thing I would do all the time. But again, for me, it goes back to neutralizing food and the good and the bad. And, like just adding the stuff in that you like in moderation and feeling happy about it. Basically, if somebody nowadays were to tell me, okay, this is your plan, this is your cheat meal, I'm not comfortable with that, again, but it's because I've been working really hard to neutralize that good, the bad foods. It kind of comes down to that.
Totally. And like I love the idea too of throughout the day, if I feel like a cookie at 12 o'clock in the afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have that cookie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I have to wait till Sunday. I have to wait till Sunday. I have
Yes.
to, and I think that too, I mean, it goes a long way too for the mental health that comes in to the mental side of this, nutrition, fitness, whatever you want to call it, health journey that you're on too. I think that goes a long way as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. So Stevie, this has been great. Is there anything that here's one for you. Okay. So as a parent with, kids in their teens and everything like that, how do you keep them motivated to, I mean, even if they're not in health and fitness, I want to know, like, how do you keep them motivated to keep going?
It's been a tough COVID, like for everybody. And we're pretty open family. So we do communicate, we reach out for help where we need it. And my kids are really good at wanting to feel good. So, for instance, my youngest, who's in the 9th grade, my husband said, okay, 10 o'clock's the bedtime. Stick to 10. And she's like, came up to me crying because dad said he laid down the law, 10 o'clock's bedtime. She said, but you guys know me. You know that I'm not going to go to bed too late because I don't want to feel bad the next day. And I was like, yeah, that's right. They are pretty responsible about doing the things. I love that Peloton bike that we have because all the girls will go down and ride it and, just kind of, I don't ever force anything on them. However, mom's cure is to, if they're upset or, whatever's going on with their life, I say, go for a walk. Just go for a walk, which they think is funny because that's my cure all for everything. But they are pretty motivated kids. I'm pretty lucky. And, I think Ryan and I stay pretty motivated as well. So they just fall into line. They're really good kids. They're really self-aware.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm
Now,
lucky.
here's another one too. Household full of girls. How does Ryan do? How does Ryan do with all that?
Oh, well, first of all, Ryan is such a good girl dad. And I like you're a girl dad and you're going to be you're already an amazing girl dad, but I tell you, it's going to get more interesting. He he's really, he's patient, but he's still dad. So, like he will still throw down that hammer when things get a little crazy. But he's really open. He's really ready to, he's, willing to listen to all the things that make him uncomfortable. Sometimes he'll just say to me, I don't know what I said. I don't know what just happened. I don't know what I said. And sometimes he just goes and mows the lawn. So it is a lot. Like, and we're all, we're grown too. It's like 4 women, Adam, and we have 2 dogs and they're both boys.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But he's real good. Yeah.
Awesome. Stevie, it's been great to catch up. I mean, we worked together in close quarters for the past couple of years, but we miss you. We miss your face. We miss your energy and your positivity and just, your willingness to help. And I really appreciate that. So I just want to commend you for that. And I'm loving what you're doing on social media right now. I think that's what we need in a world of just confusion and people being afraid right now. It's positivity and voices like yours. So I commend you for that, and I'm so grateful for everything that you're doing.
Thanks, Justin, and back at you. You're one of my favorites. Thank you.
Is there anything that you wanted to throw out there before we say goodbye?
Yes, there is actually. So I have a 8-week program. It's a group coaching program coming up. Registration will start soon, and you just watch my Instagram for that. It will start the day after Thanksgiving, which it comes at kind of an interesting time, but that's just when the dates roll together. So October 13, the group will begin. It will be capped, so we'll have a lot of interest already. I did a test group back in, gosh, I think we started it in May. I don't remember exactly. Again, I'm bad with time, but that sold out in a day. So I assume that everybody's going to be excited to get on. It's called Mindset, Macros, and Moderation. And it's just kind of more what we talked about, but with some actionable items that we can move through. And I'm really excited about it. So watch my Insta for that.
And sorry, is that digital? Is that in person? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's going to be online. I will send a workbook. We're going to have a private Facebook group. I'll do some group coaching in there, and basically just kind of hold you through that 8 weeks and then let you fly. You can create a customizable program for you and for how you work and how your lifestyle is and all the things you like. If it's wine or pizza or date night or whatever it is, we work it all in. So I'm excited about it.
Love it. That sounds
Yay.
fantastic. And is it men, women, or is it just women? Or
so it's just women for this one, just because of the Facebook group. We're going to make that a kind of women's group. But I've had a lot of interest from guys, so I think I'm probably going to start something different and make it geared more towards the guys coming up soon.
Love it. You mentioned your Instagram handle, but is there anywhere else that people can connect with you if they need more information?
Yeah, I have a website, keepmovingstevie.com, and there's actually a freebie on there. It's a nutrition guide. I'll give you lots of actionable items you can do right now. So keepmovingstevie.com, you can check it out. And like I said, Insta, keep.moving.stevie. And yeah, I would love to connect with everybody there. And ask me questions, reach out to me on there. I love to have discussions on that account.
Stevie, thank you so much. This has been just eye-opening, and I love chatting about. I could talk about this all day long, but I want to be respectful for your time. So thank you so much. I'm just going to stop the recording, but just hang out for 1 sec, okay?
Okay, thanks, Justin.